Innovation there with a clever game. Ties up the series 1-1.
Speaking of concussive shell, I think he got it, by the way, but it was a fake to try and make Serral think he was going stem. It was like a really big brain move there from Innovation. Speaking of big brains, up at the top left here from ENCE Esports, it's the GOAT. He's Serral.
Not pleased with that last game. After this man down here in the bottom right, let's see how many more tricks he has up his sleeve. Representing Kaizi Gaming, it is Innovation. And it doesn't have to all be tricks. Now you've put a little bit of fear into your opponent. There's a lot of other ways you can play this out. And it's not like map 1 was completely one-sided or anything. But Serral's backstab's definitely a little too powerful in that game. And seemed to have a read on Innovation's hard push on the 4th base. We'll have to see if a metagame revolves around that in the standard games. Is Innovation going to back off the initial pressure a little bit more and try to focus more on efficiency and preserving his units for a slightly later push, taking advantage of the moment where Serral's droning? So as much as Serral's looking for when is Innovation going to push me, Innovation's going to be looking for when is Serral just building lots of workers, when is he building lots of army. If I can find the sweet spot where we catch him off guard, building the wrong unit, that's also going to work out very well for Innovation.
So nothing crazy here in the early game for either player, and we're on Simulacrum in this TVZ. This particular map, this particular matchup, talk to us a little bit about it.
Well, I did just actually hear that the bottom right main base of Innovation looks like Australia on the minimap.
You have to zoom out really far for that. Yeah, but there you go.
Oh. Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it?
It's missing Tasmania, but
yeah, that's all right.
So is the rest of the country. So.
Very fitting we'd be casting this then. Yeah, I mean, it's a map with spread out wide bases. That's what I always talk about, is just the fact that the distance between the natural to the 3rd is massive. Once you get up to 4 or 5 bases, backstabs rule the day. And up to that point, the player who is aggressive often can set up some nice positions. Now, Terran players have struggled hard with large numbers of Ling Bane on this map. There's lots of wide open areas. Tanks find themselves inevitably flanked and surrounded, and that's why players usually do tend towards Widowmine play against the Ling Bane styles that Zerg are using.
It feels like when you get the natural up as a Zerg, you know, similar to Eternal Empire, want to get some of your structures down there at the front so that run-bys are very difficult. And if the natural is locked down, the main is very safe against Hellions as well.
Yeah.
Control here from Serral, only taking hit point damage on his units, no damage, no actual kills here on that Reaper.
3rd base is down there for Serral.
Very quick 3rd CC from Inno.
Yeah, same as map number 1 here. Single gas straight into that. You know, it got him into a decent position in that game. I don't think the opening was wrong. Serral looked very good at how he controlled it. Different map, different game. We'll see how it plays out here. And, of course, keeping eyes on Serral. Now, if Innovation chooses to go for more of a Widowmine style versus the Ling Bane, great versus Mass Ling Bane, especially versus Mutas as well, right? But not so good against Hydras. And Serral, he did showcase some fantastic Hydra usage in the group stage. Really shut down some players with that. And is definitely someone who's shown kind of an ability, this cool push and pull, right? Where it's like, go faster Bane speed, get more creep spread because you got more control, or go the faster upgrades and don't have as much control, but of course, you know, you can actually match the Terran in the upgrades that way.
1-1 on the way here for the Zerg, but of course, just like game 1, the Terran a lot further along in that regard. Now, the Innovation is taking his time to amass those units. Without the medevacs, you really don't want to go across the map, but it does time out so nicely with 1-1. Armory again, well timed for Innovation. Overseer with Overlord speed. This one's hard to stim down, as Innovation has been stimming down a few Overlords in this game. Overseer is basically a jet plane. He gets on out of there.
The speed Overseer is so fast. And we already see 8 Banelings on that production tab, just 63 drones, so 64 drones, not just a flat 60 this time. Serral went just 4 workers higher than map number 1, but still, look at that production tab. Lots of Zerglings, lots of Banelings, but a Hydra Den added to it. And I think he's 1 gas higher. It looks like 5 gas Hydra Ling Bane as opposed to 4 gas just Ling Bane. Serral's not going to have as many units to get on top of these first pushes.
You're absolutely right. And also, if Innovation continues to get 2 factory tank out, he's going to have a better composition against what Serral had in game 1. Big Lings around here. Innovation just not enough units, has to pull back. But of course, there are going to be a lot more Marines where that came from, and the factory units are going to come for a walk as well.
Already 10 more drones in production here for Serral. He's definitely going to be playing on the edge of greed a little bit more. And remember what happened last time. Tank and a medevac, bunch of Hellbats morphing, and a ton more Marines coming across the map. I guess the problem this time is with that creep spread, which base do you push for? Is it going to be the bottom or the top? Looks like the Southern Army is going to push down their creep clearing squad on the north.
Yeah, it looks like it. Haven't any scans from Innovation. This south one, there it is. So he's going to get a bunch of these creep Tuma's down. Hasn't got the active one in the front just yet, though. Oh, yeah, there he goes. He grabs it. So the Queen's going to get to work back up here. Meanwhile, this base, Serral's got a lot of Banelings here. Innovation's army doesn't look big enough to fight back.
Indeed, he's got to spread that creep back immediately, and Serral is he's on top of it. Really is doing a good job. That creep continuing to spread on both the south and the north. Up on 78 workers, 2-2 started. Hydra's in production. Serral in control of this game.
Now, he is off creep here, but he could potentially ambush those Marines while Innovation's not looking. Quick hot pick up there from the Terran. Both actually, Innovation sees the Zerg army, and he's like, yeah, all right, come and fight. I'm going to pick up a unit and get on out of here. Doing small chip damage wherever he can as Serral continues to get more and more units, this time throwing in a few more Hydras. He's been making them for a few seconds here.
8 barracks are up and running now. Concussive shells, 2-2 getting close to finish. The tank count continues to go. Remember, Innovation has not lost any tanks this game. He's really preserved that count. And they are very important against the Hydra Bane composition.
Inno's in the main, which looks spicy, but unfortunately there is a lot of Zerg here for him, so he's not going to actually do too much in the main, just putting in a few hit points off of that extractor. Couple Lings went down. Serral holding that Z button, get way more Lings out here as he amasses more and more resources. It is 2-2 on the way here for the Zerg, still on lair tech. And a little bit behind in upgrades, but not too far behind on the Terran.
2-2's almost finished. Oh, very nice catch. And can leave a few Hydras on the end there to dissuade any future drops. This right now, we've seen the tank count grow. It looks like only 4 tanks right there on our screen, though. Not that many. Normally you'd want 5 or 6 here with 2 finishing. It's a good army, though. Lots of Marines and Marauders, and a lot more rallying across. So many barracks, and you can see 2 Marauders building at a time. So that's going to add a lot more tankiness to this. These early Marauders added to the composition.
And there's a lot of map without creep on it for Innovation to maneuver around here. Obviously, he has to scan and get rid of this stuff in the high ground. Looks like where Serral potentially wants to take an expansion, but he is there. He's going to let the Innovation take this ground for now. Doesn't want to take a bad trade. The rest of his army coming from the middle of the map. And he doesn't want to send everything up there because he's smelling like Innovation's going to try and go for a multi-prong attack. But really, Innovation's just hitting really hard here from the north.
Oh, he's going to go for a big run by his Serral. Banes and Zerglings running into that base. He gives up his 4th, but he does have a new base on the bottom side that he can transfer to. This trade for Innovation going not too bad to start off, though. He's really holding the line as well as he can with such a small number of units. Serral going to jump on this army on the front.
And he's trying to. The Banelings getting dodged here by a lot of the Marines, but a good connection in the last second there on the Marines of Innovation. Gets a lot of the wind knocked out of his sails, but Innovation's got so many barracks. He can make a lot more bio here, replenish those forces. 11 Marines in production at a time here with a Marauder and a tank as well. Hive just starting now for Serral at the 10-minute mark. He did lose that hatchery, but he keep in mind he does have that 4th at the bottom left, which he expanded to about a minute and a bit ago.
Innovation lost one of his barracks, so he's replacing it. He's adding +3 attack, but nothing else but non-stop production. It's all about rallying across this map and trying to win. At just 58 SCVs, Innovation is rebuilding none of them.
Oh, this medevac's actually not got a lot of dead space. Serral might be able to pick off a full one, and he does! Nice pick off there for Serral.
And at the same time, on the south, is he going to get a tank? No! Great hot pick up there. Does save the tank, but Innovation, remember, with this style, once you lose your first round of tanks, you can't replace them very quickly. It's just one at a time. So it's all about being able to just drain down the Zerg, and your bio needs to be what overwhelms at the end of this. And Serral, he hasn't let that really happen just yet. Whilst there's some dents in his creep, he is still holding strong.
The lack of dead space at the edge of these maps making things really hairy for these medevacs, but Innovation does escape this time. Trades with the Lings there to the north side, nearly loses another medevac. I mean, that's the thing, because Innovation is so committed to bio here in 3-3 and pressure. If he's losing medevacs, you start to just look as weak as paper here. Paper and rain, man, you just fall apart.
Yeah, paper mache planes once the Hydras start to focus on those medevacs. Hydras and Banes here falling back in the northern side. These Marines here, they do a little bit of focus fire. Innovation, he's looking to stress Serral. He's looking to find these openings. But Serral, he's got Vipers on the way, Adrenal Glands, +3 Carapace, and he's still got a large army here in the south. 2 tanks, a large pack of Marines. He is on creep right now. Serral's going to dive for it. Very few Zerglings. It's almost purely Banelings and Hydras.
I think there was an overextension from Serral, and Innovation knows it, bringing in the rest of the Marines here to try and get damage on that hatchery and take it down before the Banelings get remade. A medevac getting caught there, a handful of Marines hitting those Banelings, and that is a hatchery pick-off. Nice pick-off there for Innovation. Serral's double expanded to the north of the map, though. Innovation's on 3 base, and Serral just won't be on less than 4, no matter what.
This is how you stop this style. Whenever it wants to fight you, it's desperate. It's 8 barracks. It doesn't have a 4th command center. Innovation needs to fight you right now. And Serral says, okay, if that's what you want, that's not what I'm going to give you. 2 times now. He's given up the bases on one side and re-expanded to the other. As long as he keeps the workers alive and transfers them, and he avoids fighting at the bad moments, it's going to be good for Serral. He is playing around Innovation style, recognizing that Innovation, the reason he's able to create this much bio is because he is committing everything. He is throwing all of his eggs into this basket, and once we see Vipers hit the field, the tanks become bad. Once Ultras hit the field, the Marines aren't going to be very useful. As these upgrades clock over, Serral is just hanging on, growing his Baneling count, and becoming more and more untouchable.
This is the moment for Innovation. 3-3, about to finish here for these bio. And like Pig mentioned, he's on 3 bases. There's a 4th to the south, but Innovation just doesn't have much of an economy at the moment. He's going to try and push forward. Speaking of that economy, a counterattack here from Serral with the Lynx getting on top of these SCVs. The orbital has to be lifted if he wants any chance to continue mine. That's actually the main base from Innovation. So his dire economic situation getting worse here with that run by.
Yeah, he's all in at this point. Innovation is never building another command center in this game. And a big surround!
Serral from every angle, blinding clouds on the tank, and he pushes everything back from Innovation, plucking the medevacs from the sky with the Hydralisks. An absolutely beautiful cleanup.
Wow, that was incredible. Such good blinding clouds, and Innovation distracted by the backstab on the south side. He let his tanks get a bit too clumped up there. The tanks were looking so deadly against those clumped up Banelings, but with them taken out of the equation, Serral's fight was so efficient.
Really nice splits from Innovation against the Banelings here off creep, but here comes the rest of the Zerg from the north side. Not many tanks in this army at all from Innovation, so these Hydras are quite scary. In come the Vipers as well. Banelings connecting again. Serral is absolutely all over Innovation right now in game 3, and the Vipers with the Hydras and the Banes are going to excuse Innovation from this map.
Yeah, this was beautiful play by Serral, refusing to take the bad fights, patience in the face of utter destruction, and willingness to give up ground to take the better fight later. Serral there just showing so much patience and poise under pressure.